I've heard from some people that I've been interviewing that say, yeah, this should be mandatory in schools. Everyone needs to learn this. We need to make sure everyone does. But then there are some people who I say, I do think it should be I do think it should be in the curriculum of schools, but I don't think it should be mandatory. I think it should be optional because you don't want to force these teenagers to just do mindfulness if they don't want to, you know? So what's your take on that? Do you think it should be all the way from like early learning to high school, like mandatory?
That's a really good question. I don't really know the answer to that. I know in the hospital and in the clinic setting, it's always voluntary. And part of the definition that I offered about mindfulness is that it's on purpose. And so for something to be on purpose, that implies that it's something that you are choosing to do. I do think that mindfulness can help everybody, and I would love to see mindfulness in every school, particularly in schools where kids are experiencing a lot of stress, including stress that they didn't choose, things like poverty and racism and things like that. Not that mindfulness is the answer to those problems, it certainly isn't, but I think mindfulness can help every kid at every age, from kindergarten through 12 and into post-secondary school. Whether kids should be quote unquote forced to do mindfulness, I'm not really sure. I think every kid should have the opportunity at the very least, but I don't really know if it's something that can be forced or pressured to do.
Well, do you have any like techniques that you want to share with the audience, maybe that these kids can do at home by themselves to practice?
Yeah, I think the one of the very most practical meditations that I like to teach is called the stop meditation. And I borrowed this from Alicia Goldstein and Bob Stahl, and they teach this in mindfulness-based stress reduction for adults. But it's super useful for myself, and it's super useful for kids as well, because it can be done almost anywhere, almost anytime, and it doesn't take very long. It takes less than about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Stop stands for stop what you're doing, getting out of autopilot mode, stopping what you are about to do as well, because often when we're stressed, we might do things that aren't really the most helpful in that situation. The T stands for take 3 mindful breaths. The O stands for observe what's happening right now in the present moment. And the P stands for proceeding. That means carrying on with what we're doing, but instead of being an autopilot or being in a reactive kind of mode, being really aware and mindful and choosing what we want to do based on what's going to be the most helpful for us and for others.